We're trying to get a hold of the future president, Anthony Gonzalez. What if that's how I intro? He's up for election day. Hopefully, by the way, if he loses. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. No. I'm pumped for this convo because I feel like I did do like a, what's that called in high school? You did civics class. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I feel like I did a civics class, but I still don't understand how any of it works. You know what I mean? Like whenever I looked into what he is, he's a House of Representative. Yeah. Okay. All I know is when he took us into the house that he works in, he gave us the best tour I've ever seen in my entire life.
He did.
We were on I think the speaker's balcony. Yeah. I was wearing a sleeveless hoodie. I was on the speaker's balcony. There was a lot of eyes coming at me, and Gonzo was like, "Oh, let's go down here." We go down this other hallway. We go see it. We see I guess the room where they battle each other in. Yeah. That's been around since the beginning of the country, I guess. And it's like there's like blood on the stairs. So I mean, we learned a lot just from talking to him, and I can't wait to chat with him again now with people getting a chance to listen to us talk to him. Former teammate of mine, former first-round draft pick of the Indianapolis Colts, now a member of the U.S. House of Representatives over there in Ohio. Ladies and gentlemen, from The Ohio State University, Anthony Gonzalez.
Yeah!
Gonzalez.
Representative.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. Okay, before we get into this, I want to say thank you for joining us. I know it's a big day for you. You're up for re-election. We all assume you're going to be a future president, so you already won today. Congrats.
Hell yeah.
Congrats, Gonzo. Congrats, dude.
Thanks, buddy.
The transition from sport to politician, was that an easy one? Is that one whenever you were playing? Like, whenever you and I were hanging out, having a good time or doing whatever, in the back of your mind, were you thinking you were going to get into politics at some point, or how did this naturally happen?
I thought I'd get into it at some point. I didn't think I'd get into it when I did. So my thought was, after I left the Colts and I had a cup of coffee in New England, I went to Stanford, got my MBA. I was going to stay in the business world for a very long time. And then, this will sound corny, but it is the God's honest truth. I just felt like a bit of a calling. I felt like now was the right time to get in as things were getting crazier and crazier by the second. And I thought, I'm a fairly level-headed person. I think I can bring something different to Congress. And so that was the goal. And I, turns out it's a lot harder than I thought, trying to change the tone and tenor of Congress. But we've made a lot of progress as an office and as a staff, and I'm proud of our first 2 years and hope to have 2 more.
Okay, so you're in Congress, which I just learned here in this conversation just a second ago while you said that. The idea of how that place operates, because I only know about politics from whenever a video will enter into my timeline on the internet. And normally all hell is breaking loose. When if politics make it into my Twitter or my social feed, all hell is breaking loose. What is your job as a House of Representative in the Congress world, and what the hell do you guys do over there? Great question. Great. You're not getting this question by any politician. This is a hard-hitting question, Gonzo.
That is an amazing question. So, look, what we do is we pass the laws that ultimately govern the country. If you read Article 1 of the Constitution, it's short, won't take you long. You'll see exactly outlined in detail what we're supposed to do. One of my goals is to make sure that we do not come across your timeline very often. I think the proper place for politics is in the background of everybody's life, not in the front. If we're doing our job correctly and we're passing laws and we're not, trying to kill each other every 2 seconds, metaphorically speaking, then we don't show up in your timeline. The country runs smoothly, and everybody's happy. When we do what we typically do, which is just fight like cats and dogs, that's when things get a little hairy, and it gets frustrating for me personally. I don't get angry much, except for when we do that. I don't play the partisan games that everybody plays. I just want to see us do things that are productive and that move the country forward. And when we get in our own way, that's what I find completely distasteful. Okay. But that's also why I got into it.
Okay, well, congrats on passing laws, dude.
Hell yeah.
That's pretty cool. Wow. Hey, good for you. 2 years of passing laws and stuff.
It's incredible.
I feel like the last 2 years was obviously your first 2 years in politics. It has been interesting that you said that whenever it's in the background, it's better than it. For the last 2 years, for the last 4 years, this is the most the politics have ever been just shoved down everybody's throats, it feels like. That's kind of why our show does well, because we've somehow maintained an oblivious effect to that entire thing just because we're so stupid and we got our blinders on, okay? So whenever you go over there and you're kind of baptized into the politic world in the middle of the most contentious time in the history of politics, it feels like, what is the mindset? Is like every day like, okay, I got to figure out how I find an ally? Is it like Survivor or Big Brother? It's like, okay, I got to find allies in here. Or is it like I have to get, like, what is the mindset every day going in there that it doesn't just, you don't get a part of the entire massive feuds that seem to be flaring up every single day over there?
Yeah, so, I'll tell you what my focus is. My focus, first and foremost, is on my district. I represent Northeast Ohio. We have plenty of issues, and I try to do everything I can to grow our economy and keep us safe and all those things. Now, in the context of doing that, I focus the vast majority of my time on getting smart on the actual legislation, what we're working on, and relationship building, specifically with the other side. So, look, it's not hard for me to get my own side to agree with me. It's a lot harder to get to the other side. And so I spend as much time as possible building friendships, frankly, and I have great friendships on both sides of the aisle, doing just that. I mean, if you've ever put any business deal together, it's hard to do it if you hate the person you're working with, right? So, we try to bring the tenor down and do it that way. And in terms of sort of how it works, it's sort of like raising kids for anybody who has kids listening to the show, where just when you think you've got it figured out, they change 6 different ways, and you all of a sudden they're throwing poop on the floor or something. It's that kind of a dynamic where you can't ever really figure it out. As soon as you're close, things change in an instant. But that's what makes it fun, frankly, because it keeps you on your toes at all times.
Okay, so how old are you now, Gonzo?
36.
Okay, so you're 36. Happy birthday. I missed a couple.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Happy
birthday. Yeah.
Congrats.
Birthday gifts coming from the office. But so you're 36 years old. It feels like, and I might be mistaken here, but when it gets into my particular world or realm, or it's on TV or whatever, it's like, what, 95 to 100-year-olds in there. Do you feel as if you're potentially you're like in an old man and ladies game? Like, is that a tough thing? Because I would assume there's like a set way things happen for a long time. And then when a younger generation has to come in, is it like you either buy in or get the hell out? Or is it like, how can we potentially adapt this process into a much more modernized world to get things done? Is that kind of how you have to approach it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always trying to push the envelope because I'm somebody who's not particularly patient for results, and Congress is as slow as can be. But you're right. I mean, I think that's one of the frustrations that a lot of people in our sort of age range have, which is you look at TV and it's like, who are these people? Like, who represents me out here? And it's hard to find sometimes. And so again, I wanted to provide a voice that can bring a lot of different people together, not just reds and blues, but just people who want to see the government work better. And there are institutional forces certainly that have been there for probably 200 plus years that keep things slow and give power to people who most Americans would prefer didn't have power. But that's the process that we're stuck with right now. And again, the goal is to, inside of our structure, which I think is, quite frankly, the best structure that's ever been created, the U.S. Constitution. Inside of that, how do you make change that moves the country forward?
Okay, real sports show question. Are you ready for this sports show question I'm about to say?
Yes.
So, Gonzo, is the feeling similar to catching a 70-yard go route whenever you get a law or bill passed in Congress? Is that the same type of satisfaction and self-gratification you get whenever you catch a go route from Peyton Manning or an out for a first down on third down from Peyton Manning as whenever you put a piece of legislature in front of the Congress and they say, yay, instead of nay? Is it the same type of feeling, Gonzo? Is that the same? Is that a good metaphor, Gonzo?
It's actually a great metaphor.
Okay. Hey, big sports show, Gonzo. Big sports show.
I want one of those hoodies, by the way, that you got going on.
Oh, I can get you one of these. It's a performance hoodie, so you can work out. And I don't know if you get to work out anymore now that you're changing the world Captain America style. Do you?
I do. I'm more of a runner and a swimmer, I guess. But I'll get in there.
Today, you're up for re-election. What does the day look like, and what has the process been getting to this day? It has to be nerve-wracking. I mean, I remember in high school, whenever people were running for like class stuff, the kids were nervous, right? They were like actually nervous, like who cares if you win or not? I would assume for a real election, there has to be some real nerves, or is it just like, I did all I could for 2 years, we'll get there? And what does today feel like and look like to you?
There's definitely nerves. I mean, again, similar to sports, a big game. I have not slept well in probably 2 or 3 weeks. As the day, approaches, you go from sleeping, 7 hours a night to something like 4 or 3. I think I woke up at 2 in the morning last night and just, disappeared into my phone until my son woke up. So, you definitely have that dynamic for sure. But, like anything else, you sort of build up to it, right? So like everything that's going to happen today has been baked over the last, however many months, right? You've been out campaigning, you've been raising money, you've been passing legislation, you've been working for your community. All of those things build up to this day. So I actually, from an analogy standpoint, I think it's more like a boxing match where you train, you have one shot. And if you don't win on that day, then you're starting all over again. Unlike a season where you get multiple shots at it.
I am ignorant to this, so please answer this question. And if it alludes to something incredibly illegal, definitely tell me that as well. Whenever people are raising money, right? You always hear about, this campaign has raised this amount of money, and it is. For the presidential election, it is a lot of fucking money. Does that money just go right into the pocket of the politician? Or like for your campaign money, like what was that money used for? And why is money so important? Is it just strictly so you can get your message across in so many different ways?
Yeah, so, you can't physically touch every voter in the district, right? I have, roughly 750,000 people in my district. And, you try to meet as many as you can, but just if you did that all day, you physically can't do it. So what the money provides is an opportunity for you to communicate with your voters either through the mail or through digital or through TV. I mean, all these ads that you see, that's what they all go towards. They go towards ads and then, the people making them pocket a pretty penny, I'm sure. Absolutely none of it goes to the politician, which is exactly what it should be. But yeah, all those ads that you're sick of seeing, that's where all the money goes.
Do you have any attack ads on you? What did they say about you? He's bald and stupid. What did the attack ads say about you, or did you not have any? Because that's awesome.
I didn't have any this go around. I mean, look, it's the same nonsense that everybody says. I mean, they literally, even if it's not true, they'll just make it up. I will say this: last cycle, somebody had an attack ad of me dropping a pass at Ohio State.
Should have called it.
Yeah, saying, how can you trust this guy to catch anything? To which we said, thank you for reminding the voters that I was the guy who they watched at Ohio State.
You played pretty well at Ohio State, by the way. You're pretty good at the football. Go ahead, Connor.
Yeah, Anthony, while you were at Ohio State, I believe A.J. Hawk was also there. Was there anything that you saw from him where you're like, wow, this guy's a certified nut job, or was he just kind of like a normal dude?
AJ, honestly, and no, I know you guys have him on the show a lot. He was the best college player that I played against or with. I mean, in practice, he was unbelievable.
Really?
He was, first off, I think he was faster than the receivers. Like his 40 time at the combine was, or at pro day was like 4.37 or some crazy thing. And so you got AJ at 250 running around trying to rip your head off. And literally, I'll never forget this. I told this to somebody. The first time he tackled me, I literally felt like he was trying to drive me through the ground and like 4 feet underneath. I mean, that's how AJ Hawk tackled. And he was amazing.
Did you know that he actually retired Kirk Herbstreit as a sophomore in high school? Herbstreit came back for an alumni game over there at Centerville High School, and AJ went helmet to jaw on Herbstreit, and he retired forever, knocked him out, tried to kill him. Yeah, that's what AJ Hawk does, by the way. That AJ Hawk only knows one way. That big ass chin is flying, and if you get in the way, CTE City's next, pal. What do you got, Tone?
Representative Gonzalez, you talked about
this guy did not vote. Hey, Gonzo, this guy did not vote.
Hold on. The polls aren't closed yet, first off.
Now
You talked about representing Northeast Ohio and potentially fixing that. Is the most unfixable thing in Northeast Ohio the Browns?
Yes. We're great this year. I mean, you know what? Well, this is the best team that we've had probably in 20 years, which isn't saying something. But I like the team. I like Stefanski. I like Andrew Barry. Pat, we were with Andrew in Indy, if you remember. Great guy, super smart, probably the smartest guy in the entire NFL.
Agree.
And so, you know, if you have those pieces and, you know, we got a heck of an offense, defense needs a little work. I'm optimistic for the Brownies. It's going to be tough to catch the Steelers and the Ravens, though.
Yeah, it's going to be Steelers are undefeated. And Ben Roethlisberger just I won't say it to you because you're on the screen here. I shouldn't talk about what Ben Roethlisberger's changed his life off the field, and now he's completely in. I don't know if you've seen the headlines because you've been trying to.
Anymore.
All right, we're not getting into it. We got a representative in. Do you have something for me? Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, Gonzo. At this stage of your career, do more people recognize you as their congressman, or as their representative, or do more people recognize you as an Ohio State legend?
And follow up: are you a congressman because you're in Congress?
Oh.
Yes, is the answer to that. Yeah.
Hey. Right. Just learn some more.
Civics 101 right there. So
it's not my thing, but I voted.
The answer to the question is probably both, but so like now it's definitely because of Congress. So like last night, my wife and I were at dinner with our team, and some guy came over. It's actually pretty funny. He's like, "Hey, your family immigrated here from Cuba, right?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I bet you hate communism." He
just walked it off. Such a good political one-liner. Oh my God.
Yeah. So, of course, he's right. So.
You're a young guy, 36 years old, taking on government. And you talked about Andrew Barry there with the Cleveland Browns. He's a young guy that's currently the GM. And you alluded to it in your original conversation about the 200-year-old institutions that make things tough. How important is it for that next generation of people to join alongside you and like care about politics? Because right now, the younger generation, our generation or anything younger, the only thing we know is social media posts about people who say things about politics, and that's about it. How important is it truly for like a younger generation that can maybe have some different ideals about what's really important, not important, to get into the entire government world? And do you feel like a hero being a 36-year-old guy that's going into being in Congress and trying to change the world? Because you should.
Well, I appreciate it. I do not feel like a hero, but
you're doing more than us. You are a hero.
In terms of the getting involved, so one thing I'll say, I think social media is going to be the death of American politics at some point. I mean, it is just a absolute cesspool of political information, and for somebody who's in it, like you watch these tweets that just take off and get 100,000 likes or 1 million likes or whatever it is, and you read it and you're like, 95% of this is completely inaccurate, but it's up there and people they gravitate towards it and it's very misleading and difficult. So that aside, one thing about getting involved in politics that you realize is how much of an impact one individual voter or one individual person can really have in our country on somebody like me, right? So like I represent, like I said, 750,000 people. The only way I know what to do is from talking to my constituents and hearing them tell me, hey, here's what's going on. Here's what you need to focus on. Here's what I need out of the government right now. And if people get involved at that level where they seek out their representative and make their voice heard, if you have any kind of representation at all, that person is going to go to work for you and go to bat for you because he works for you. At the end of the day, I literally work for the 750,000 voters or constituents in my district. And so if you don't do that and you're frustrated and angry and you think this is all garbage and you hate politics, then you're going to continue to be disappointed. But I do think if ultimately everybody takes ownership of the direction of the country in their own way and in their own community, you'd be surprised at how much you can move the needle just on an individual basis. I was shocked, frankly, when you really think back on it. And it's like, wow, the reason we passed that bill is because these 6 people told me about it, and we went in and put it before a committee and rallied up the support for it, got it passed, and now my community's better off. Those sorts of things can happen. But they only happen if you're engaged.
That's like fulfillment, I'd assume, in the politics world right there, where 6 people allude or tell you about something, and then it's your job, instead of being, which I think, by the way, and this is just me going to speak about your peers, it feels like political activists get into politics and then they forget that they're politicians. They still think they're political activists. It's like, yo, I don't need you telling me what the fuck's wrong. I need you to go fix it. Like, that is why you're there. And it feels like that's potentially a problem in the politics world. And it's interesting what you said about the social media thing. It's like, I remember going to the Colts and I would see like a Schefter tweet about something at our practice before I even got in. I'm like, how's this guy know? Like, how does this guy know before I even know? Because I might have been in the weight room or whatever. And most of the time, the insiders are accurate. With the misinformation that you just alluded to, is a lot of the stuff that you see just completely blown out of proportion and wrong? And should we be? I mean, is everything we know a lie? Like, what? Like,
no.
Did you just scare me right there, Gonzalez? Like, I think you just kind of scared me there a little bit.
No, I mean, look, I think the political rhetoric that a lot of politicians, people in my position, and cable news traffic in is garbage. I think it's pure garbage. It's not meant to inform. It's not meant to move anybody closer together. It is simply meant to incite and to drive social media hits. And that's dangerous because, look, I haven't tweeted in like 4 months. This was one of my wife's great coronavirus ideas. She's like, look, you're miserable on that thing. Just don't tweet anymore. So I'm much happier as a result. Having said that, if I wanted to double my followers within 2 weeks, I think I could do it. All I would have to do is become a raving lunatic, right? And then all of a sudden, your political capital goes up somehow. Well, that's destructive. It's not helpful. And again, I think most people in the country, despite what happens on social media, don't want that. And so, it's our job as representatives, I think, to provide honest answers and to be truthful with your constituents on what's going on and how it's going to affect them. And then they get to decide every 2 years, in my position, whether they want to keep you on or throw you out.
How long are we staying in this? You going to do this for the long haul? Are you going to be President Gonzalez one day? That'd be pretty cool for us personally.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool for us.
If you have me on every day for the next 3 years, no.
You're going to have to start being a raving lunatic then if you want that. Hey, listen, if you want it, Bob, you asked for it. You got to do it. No, is there any aspirations for that, or is it just like I'm just going to take it one day?
Honestly, I think, and this is not a BS answer. Look, the job I have is very difficult. It's very, very difficult on my family. It's a tough job. I love it. I love it more than any job I've ever had. And I will do it as long as my voters will have me. If there's anything else that I consider, the only way I would do it is if I felt like I could make a bigger impact. And it worked for me and my family way before I'm a member of Congress. I'm a dad and I'm a husband, and that has to always be priority one. And so you take care of that, and then we'll see what happens down the road. But I would be, as I'm sitting here today, I can't see it, to be perfectly honest.
I'll tell you what, you just gave a presidential speech right there. Good luck today. I hope you get another 2 years. We appreciate you so much. And congratulations, man. This is really cool. Not a lot of NFL people can say this. So I'm very thankful you came on and joined us today.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you having me.
Hey, thanks for walking us around that building.
Yeah.
What was
White House is cool.
What was the building we were in? We weren't in the White House.
Really?
You were in the Capitol.
Yeah, you're damn right we were. That was so much fun. Anthony Gonzalez, thank you so much. Congressman Anthony Gonzalez.
Wow.
That was pretty cool, huh?
Good combo.
Good guy.
I feel like we had a real conversation there. Congressman.
Yeah.
Good for us learning a couple things in there.
He actually seems like he cares.
He
really does.
Well, that's he really does. Which,
really
by the way, I don't think that's normal for
No, I
politicians.
don't think it is.
750,000 constituents. 6 people tell him to do something. He goes in and passes a law for him. That's awesome.
Yeah.
One of his constituents, his wife, says, get off Twitter. He gets off Twitter. Look at his life. Awesome. He listens. The guy listens. The guy cares.
And he said it was the job he loved most. Imagine loving being a congressman more than catching passes from Peyton Manning.
Hey, you got to remember, he got like 3 terrible injuries when he was in the NFL. Just absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Very unlucky. And I think Gonzo, by the way, was the first person that opened my eyes to when media people were like, he gets injured, he's glass or whatever. It's like, maybe he just got unlucky on a couple different occasions that could happen on any single play. You know what I mean? Like, he grinded his ass off in the rehab. He was I mean, I'm happy. He's one of the best humans I've ever been around.
Yeah.
So I'm happy he is in politics, but he's always been that type of guy, just super cool. We hung out numerous times. He's a good guy. Good guy.
Very good guy.
Not a bad dancer, too, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if that counts for anything in the old political world, but congressman with some moves, probably pretty good.
Probably crushes it at fundraisers.
Probably.
Just destroys.
By the way, that money doesn't go to the politician, huh?
No.
Yeah, so they say.
No, we ain't got time for
Come on.
Today's Feel Good Tuesday, okay?
Yeah, Jesus.
Feel Good Tuesday.
Come on, dude.